Hello, depth heads. Deep. Hello, 40s. Okay, well, that's going to need some work. Hey, everyone. Nick here up the top, just because a little bit of exciting news since we recorded this episode, but before it went out, my TV show Good Grief has now officially launched in Australia on SBS On Demand. If you are in the mood for a 6-part comedy series about two sisters who inherit a funeral home and decide to run it, please check it out. It would mean a lot to me. I'm really proud of it, and I hope you like it, and I think it's funny. And if you like it, I'd love it if you told other people to watch it too. Anyway, seamless segue.
So where should we start this puppy? At the beginning?
I think it should probably start at the start, historically speaking.
I agree.
Or do you want to wrap things up?
Let's wrap it up.
Shall we say where to plug, all of our various socials? Thanks for joining us. Then sort of just keep it short.
Sure.
Maybe 15, 20-second podcast?
Speed pod.
How
and I'm on speed, so
and I'm sitting in a pod, so it all works out. Hey, I got a question for you. You got a fucking vaccine.
Yeah.
You got jabs.
I got vaccinated. So you might be aware of this, that the Australian government has let's say dropped the ball with the rollout. But they came out, it's been a series of fumbles, and they came out a couple of weeks ago and said, ScoMo, in a press conference, said that he just dropped it, that people under the age of 60 can speak to their GP about getting a vaccine. And the next day, I just booked in, and I tried to book in with my regular GP, and they were like, no, we don't do that here.
Yeah, I've heard other people say that they were still, like, that sort of had happened without any kind of consultation with GPs. That people have tried to go to their regular GP for it, and they've been like, nah.
Well, that's exactly what happened to me, and not only did they say no, and I asked them if I can just talk to them about it, and they were like, yeah, I mean, you can talk to us about it, but like, you can just go, there's a medical center next door. You can just book in with them. They're administering the vaccine. So I said, okay. And I just it was like 4 clicks online, and I went bang, bang, bang. I didn't get asked any eligibility questions. Maybe online I did, but basically it was just super easy to go through, and I went bang, bang, bang. Got booked in, and then got the jab.
You got
so
the Zenny.
I'm half vaxxed. I got Zenny A. Yeah. And it was. Oh, go on.
No, I was going to say, well, what was the thought process there for you? So obviously the AstraZeneca has been not recommended for people under the age of 60. And the advice for them has been to wait for the Pfizer to come down the line. So what made you go, you know what, I'm just going to grab this?
It was actually speaking to Eddie Cav. He had written a really great article on how the Queensland government had actually fueled vaccine hesitancy when it comes to AstraZeneca. And he wrote... I had an hour and a half conversation with him on Friday night online on Skype. It wasn't a podcast, even though it felt very much like one. Where he basically explained to me that it's kind of fucked up that Australia has this hesitancy when it comes to AstraZeneca, given that the UK has embraced it with open arms, and not only that, but the Pacific nations are heavily relying on AstraZeneca. That's basically all they've got. And to fuel this hesitancy, which is overly cautious, it's actually hurting. Not only is it hurting our rollout and our freedoms or whatever, it's hurting our neighbors in the Pacific. It's also hurting people in India, where the Delta variant is where the Delta variant came from, but it's spreading throughout India, and again they are heavily relying on AstraZeneca. So he kind of gave me the spiel about the science and how all this stuff is bullshit. And basically on the back of that, I was like, well, this government has fucked us, and I wanna take the high road. I know that sounds way more like ambitious than it needed to be, but that was my thinking.
There's a moral duty in some version of what you see that outweighs the potential risks from it.
Exactly. I felt a moral obligation to do it, so that's why I did it. And it really, like, I felt really proud about it. But the next day, I like not to put anyone off it. I think everyone should go get it. But if I had to leave work, it was that bad the next day.
It was so bad that you left work.
Yeah, the following day, it was really bad. Like I woke up with my whole body aching. Like I like had muscle aches in my fingers. It was wild. So I went to work.
Muscle aches in the fingers. Like your fingers were buzzing.
I could feel it. I could feel it in my fingers as well as, my bigger muscles, which is, all of my muscles because they're massive, because I'm huge. But I had to leave. I had to leave work.
7 minutes. We got there in 7. We're getting better.
Shout out to MyFitnessPal is sponsoring this podcast. And yeah, so I had to leave work because it got that bad. I was trying to be like really upbeat and like waking up, and I felt achy as I usually do when I feel shit. I'm like, I'm gonna just psych myself out of this and pretend everything's okay and fake it till I make it. But then I couldn't fake it for that long. But I felt fine. Here's the other thing. After I went home, had a big old sleep. I didn't eat the whole day as well. I just didn't have an appetite, couldn't stomach anything. But the very next day, like, my bosses were like quite worried about me when I left work. They were like, if you need to take another day, like, please do it. The next day,
you told them obviously you got the jab.
Yeah, I told them I got the job. I got the job. Yeah, and they said, yeah, you can take the next day off if you need it. I was expecting to feel shit again because I went to bed. It got progressively worse until 9 p.m. when I was like, I have to just like fall asleep now.
Yeah, I don't want to be awake for this anymore.
Yeah. The next day, completely fine as if nothing happened. Huh. And apparently that's been the case for everyone. So,
yeah. Wow. And so if you are in Australia right now, as many of our listeners are, would you say to them, go and get it?
100%. 100%. Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, right. Well, very cool. I'm happy for you. I'm glad that you've made that halfway point, at least, that progress. What's the delay between AstraZeneca? Is it 3 months?
Well, it's meant to be 12 weeks, but now they're pushing for eight weeks. I don't know if you've seen this in the news. They're saying, you can get it a little bit sooner, but it's going to affect the efficacy.
Less effective, yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, look, here's my other rationale apart from the moralistic, I'm such a great guy reasons,
which a lot of people
also
have been
like
saying.
Sure. If I'm also expecting that they're saying to us that people under 40 are going to they're going to have Pfizer jabs available by September. That may or may not happen. Who knows? I'm inclined to not think that that's going to happen. But even if that's the case, people getting vaccinated in September or October, that's still going to be December by the time they get their second jab. So at this rate, I'm getting my second jab in September. So I'm going to be fully vaccinated by
Isn't Pfizer
September.
a faster turnaround between jabs though?
I don't know about that.
Isn't Pfizer only like 3 weeks, 2 or 3 weeks?
Is it?
Second dose should be scheduled between 3 to 6 weeks after your first dose.
Oh, no shit.
So it's a smaller interval for the Pfizer.
Oh, well, there you go.
Even so.
Either way, I got swept up in the hype, Nick, and I just wanted to get it. I was so excited. I was giddy when I walked into the doctor's office.
You're like, ScoMo said I could do this. Yes. And you
Yeah.
sort of did, like, you jumped in midair and clicked your heels together.
Well, it was funny because they in the office in the practice that I went to, they were obviously churning these out, and it's so weird seeing the vials in the news. You know what I mean? Like the actual vials of the AstraZeneca vaccine,
the juice.
and then I go into the doctor's office, and then he calls me in, and I see this fridge full of AstraZeneca and vial vaccine, and it's kind of like seeing a celebrity. You know? It was like seeing George motherfucking Clooney. Yeah, I'm like, oh, you're famous. You
were in Clooney's arms.
Famous. Has Clooney been vaxxed?
I'm sure he has. You're telling me they didn't vax Clooney the second they could?
Yeah. Yeah, so it was cool to see. I don't know. I did get swept up in the hype of it all, but the injection itself was completely painless. Like I literally didn't even feel it. I asked the doctor to take a photo. You know what I said? I said I wanted to take a photo so that I could post it on social media and
encourage people to get it.
Yeah. And I felt insecure about saying that. So I said to him,
I've been working out at the gym and my arms are looking really good in this light.
I did go to the gym and did arm day specifically the day before. Not even lying.
I want them to be sore before they get really sore.
You didn't, and then I didn't go for a week because it hurt so much. You didn't hear my punchline there, which was the truth. Also,
sorry. Okay.
That I told him because I was insecure about telling him that I wanted to post it on social media. That I told him my family were anti-vaxxers and that I wanted to persuade them, and he went, "Yeah, all right." Yeah.
So this was a different GP than you'd ever been to. Were they
never seen him before.
Were they busier because they were doing vaxxers when others weren't? Like, did you get a vibe that everyone was ready and like queuing up and there for it?
There was no sense of queuing up, but I did ask him how many vaccinations he was doing per day, and he said 60, and I said how many of those are over 40, and he said about 50%.
Right.
Which I feel really proud of. Here's the thing. Millennials get such a bad rap in terms of being entitled, and I really feel like this current pandemic and the way people have gone about it, or the different generations or demographics have gone about it, is that maybe millennials are entitled in a certain sense, but I really feel like the last few months has shown how entitled boomers are, really, because of their hesitancy to actually go and get jabbed, even when they're eligible. And I'm seeing millennials, I'm seeing all of my friends and stuff, they're so keen to get vaccinated. They want to go out and do stuff again. So I actually feel really proud to be a millennial these last few months.
Well, and I mean, I don't disagree with you, but there's also a possibility or a probability that some of those millennials are not in the just like randomly healthy category. Like some of those are probably immunocompromised or, have pre-existing conditions like asthmatic, or diabetes or whatever the things that get you over the line are. So I'm not disagreeing with that sentiment at all. But there is probably some of those who are medically entitled to it beyond merely that sort of moral, I need to go out and do this for the sake of the society.
Yeah, definitely. But I also think the thing is with young people have been hit quite hard with this. I mean, one thing I was trying to at the start of the when we're starting to talk about vaccines globally, and it was immediately clear that we would vaccinate the vulnerable and the elderly, which is, makes sense through a certain lens. But also through another lens, you could argue that young people are the ones moving around the most.
Yeah,
so
they're the ones
you could almost argue that they should be vaccinated first, given how much they move around.
Well, I think that's a bit of a stretch. But you are right that in terms of, on average, the amount of social connections or mobility or physical work out and in society, that does skew younger. A lot of boomers these days will be in desk job kind of things where they might have previously been, door to door or on construction sites and that kind of stuff, right? Just as you age out of that bracket.
Yeah, sure. I think I do feel a sense amongst other young people, including myself in the young people category still. So fuck you, anyone who's thinking otherwise. Young people do want to open up the borders so that they can travel. I mean, these are the prime years of our youth, and we are locked down. We're obviously locked down. Everyone's locked down, but these are precious years.
The options have disappeared. Yeah, and there are sincerely going to be generations a bit much, but there'll be an era of kids who came up right at the end of that, on that cusp of adulthood, for whom they were just about to go into exams, or they had their final year at school and it all got fucked, or they were going to go for their first year of uni and move into state, and that got thrown up in the air, or they're now a year and a half into a degree that was meant to be their wild time, or they were going to go on an exchange, and it's all just gone. And I think you're right that there are people that will never come back for.
Yeah, and look, everyone is in the same boat, and on the other side of the spectrum, people at the end of their lives that are they know that they're at the end of their lives and they have to spend it like this. Some people are just dying of old age, locked down.
Yeah,
crazy.
Yeah. Welcome to Deep Forward, everybody. This is an exciting podcast which tackles the big issues of the world with my friend Michael, sitting through the internet, and he has something he'd like to tell you. I don't know if he heard me say that, but anyway, my name is Nick. Hi, Nick.
Hi, Nick. Hi.
Oh gosh, are we having lag issues again? What's going on?
I think we just did slightly, and then I came in when you said he's got something he'd like to tell you, and I was like, what?
Okay. Well, we'll see how we go. A lot of positivity and sympathy, I think, for our podcast struggles last week. So I appreciated the outpouring of support in our technological frustrations. That was very kind of everyone.
Who offered sympathy?
Oh, do you want to know? Do you want? Yeah, I can tell you their names.
Give me a name.
Yeah, I can.
Just the first
name.
You,
how many names do you want?
Give me one name that was offered some sympathy.
I'll give you plenty of names. I got names coming out of my ass.
All right, I believe you. After that, you don't need to give me any names. All right, so lots on the agenda. Always fun to describe what you're about to talk about on a podcast as an agenda.
So I've pulled up the spreadsheet, and this is what is in cell B4. B4. Talk congenially. Okay.
We did get some good feedback from the last episode. I thought people liked that one.
Yeah, a lot of Bitly Ball love out there, actually.
Massive Bitly Bull love. And you bought the domain, didn't you?
Yes, so I have. I've bought the domain. You got to get in early with this kind of IP kind of thing. It's nice to plant a flag in the sand. I don't know where you plant flags. Plant a flag on
Your
the
ass.
moon. Okay. If you go to bitlyball.com, you will find nothing currently. It'll redirect you to the deepfort.podbean website. But it is there should, future opportunities arise. Maybe we code an online version which automatically checks Bitly for you. And all you have to do is just type in a phrase and then it does the thingy. We should invest at least a couple $100 in.
There's a lot of we's going on in here, and the only we I want to be part of is if this starts to make money. In which case, I will take you to court if I'm not. But in terms of this coding, no. I mean,
but
it could be an app.
Someone else, yeah. Well, yeah. We can.
I want my face on it.
Okay, so
yeah,
it's very much a we thing, right? It's not we, but I do want my face on it.
It's one of the good parts. But yeah, no, Bitly Ball, massive hit. Not only just on this podcast, but with my friends.
Yep.
In
real life, you're watching.
We actually attempted to play
it
drunk. We attempted to play it drunk the other night.
Oh shit!
Kidding. Not even my idea.
Wow.
Not even my idea.
Who initiated such a thing?
I think it was Dan.
Oh.
Not the Dan that you know. I can't actually remember. I don't even think it was him. It was another person. So it's taken off like wildfire, dude.
Ugh, it's very, very reassuring and exciting.
Yeah.
Okay. Since we're doing follow-up from previous episodes, I think there's a few things that we need to touch on the journey, on the agenda. Item number 1, sponsor read from last week. Sean Lewis did give us our first legitimate... Well, actually, that's not true because we had a previous sponsor purchase. We had a $5 ad sale. We're fucking raking it in now. Most money we've ever earned on this podcast.
Haven't seen any of that
in a single hit.
By the way.
Oh, I got it.
Haven't seen my
I got it. Yeah. Did you want it? Because
I sent you your 50 cents the other week.
Yeah, but I see it's weird because I have this voice ringing in my head and it's like, it's not we. And it just something about that just sounds very familiar. But sure, if you want to be part of it, I can sort out that money.
It's my money.
Here's perhaps why it has been withheld. Do you recall when you received that email from Sean advertising his webcomic, The Last Magi, thelastmagi.com? Were there any sort of words in the email?
Yeah. Okay, so here's what happened. I massively skim read that email. As I usually do. I am a serial skim reader. I just realized that cereal and skim, skim milk. Never mind. My brain just because I have undiagnosed IDD, self-diagnosed IDD.
What did you just say?
IDD. It's intelligent down. No. No.
Doesn't work out.
ADD,
I've got an undiagnosed
ADHD.
IUD.
I've got undiagnosed ED.
No, that has been diagnosed.
But only by my sexual partners. Yeah, no, I tend to skim emails and just look for just like
words that you like,
things. And I think in that email, Sean gave a bit more detail than I was actually willing to absorb. And I just saw add Deep Fort $5 mad last Magi, and I was like, don't even worry about the rest.
Yeah,
so yes,
I get the gist.
Sean asked me to. By the way, this has become a big problem at work. I won't get into that, but yeah, I need to start reading emails. But yes, Sean asked me to.
He said
as well
there is explicit prerequisites. The only thing that you had to do in order to satisfy Sean's criteria and get paid.
Yep, and one of them was to read the comic which I read the ad for brilliantly, by the way, apart from pronouncing the name incorrectly. But I have since read it and loved it, dude. It is a masterpiece as far as I'm concerned.
Oof, big praise.
Yeah,
but overdue.
Overcompensating here, but.
Yeah. No, it is sincerely...
but it is seriously brilliant. It's like I mean, I'm not a comic book reader, but if I saw this in I don't know where you get comic books, a shop,
it tends to be like a barn or like a silo.
Oh, really?
Yeah. You have to walk out into sort of the distant fields.
Rural.
Yeah, it's very rural. People don't tell you that. Like when you want to go buy a new Batman, but you have to put on like waders. It's disconcerting. You understand why it's.
I guess it makes sense.
A bit niche.
There's less to do out there. You know, you want to read. Yeah, I get it.
Totally.
But no.
Yeah.
I jumped online to the I say last Magi. I don't know. I've come up with my own pronunciation. It's kind of French. It's kind of French, but no, it is brilliant. I know nothing about comic books, but it's visually. By the way, this is a free ad now because this is my comeuppance, and also this is real.
It's not because he did pay us. You just didn't fulfill.
Okay, fine. This is okay. So this is me just repairing my initial
fulfilling the terms of the contract. Yes.
All right. Sure. Technical. No, it is brilliant. It's funny, visually appealing. I mean, that's all I'm looking for in a comic book, to be honest. But I love it.
After you've done all the hard work getting out, like wading through the corn and fighting off the guard dogs to get to your comics dispensary, the last thing you want to do is read lots of words. You know, have to battle through mountains of text and lore, and that's just like, no, just give me clean, crisp art, strong colors, characterization. That's all we need. Strong colors,
yeah. A lot of purple. And purple's a visually appealing color to me. If you give me a bag of lollies, which pedophiles often did when I was young, I would go straight for the purple, red, and blue, the strong colors.
Yeah, the man colors.
Yeah. Are they manly? Purple's kind of associated with feminine.
I think purple is the gay color.
Well, what about the Punisher? Or the Phantom.
The Phantom?
The Phantom.
Yeah, well, maybe there's latent undertones there that we missed growing up.
There we go. But seriously, thelastmagi.com, great comic, funny stuff. Go check it out.
Yeah, now you're looking pretty happy with yourself. you had the confidence.
I feel very uncomfortable.
The confidence
of
someone.
I feel embarrassed because I feel like everyone knows that I don't know what I'm talking about. And this is just bullshit coming out of my mouth, but I did seriously enjoy it, and I didn't read it because I felt bad. I read it because I wanted to.
Yeah, and because of the contract.
And I was bored, and I was in the country.
Nicely done. Item number 2. This is actually a couple of weeks old. This is also email follow up. We 3 episodes now, I think, talked about whether transgender was a thing in caveman times. And we had a very well thought out and informative email come through that we have sadly overlooked for a couple of weeks. And I think it is time to right that wrong. Michael, do you have it in front of you?
Yeah, I do. Do you want me to? I'll just read it out. So is this technically a mailbag, or do you want to just...
Sure.
Cash mailbag.
Cash bag, it's the casual mailbag. Default's cash bag.
I love that. All right. This is from Ben Q. Ben Quaid. Who gives a shit? No one cares. No one listens to this. All right. So Ben wrote in. So yeah, did you already do the context there?
Yeah, it's. I think 3 episodes ago we were talking about whether the sense of gender identity and sexual identity has always been with us, or whether it's socially developed. And we were talking about cavemen and how, or cave people may not have had the words to express a sense of dysphoria, but may still have felt it. To which Ben then replied,
"Yeah, well put." But I think I crudely just said or blurted out, "Hey, if there are trans people now, there's gonna be trans people in caveman times." To which Ben has written back, and this is his email. Who reads these emails? I don't know. Probably Nick, right? Hey, Nick and Michael. Just wanted to comment on Michael saying that it would have been hard for trans cavemen in episode 160. There you go.
There you go.
I don't think it really would have been much of an issue before the modern era, and especially in the pre-civilization era. Being transgender is an issue nowadays because society has organized itself in such a strict binary structure based on bureaucracy. Basically, your gender only matters because the system forces you to tick a box saying what gender you are. Back before the word was run by bureaucracy, before modernity, it didn't actually functionally matter what gender you were. There were and always have been gender roles, of course, but an individual identity as we know it hadn't formed yet, weirdly. Like, if you were a trans peasant in a pre-modern era like the Middle Ages and you felt comfortable in men's clothing and doing whatever peasant meant did, ploughing, I don't know, then that wouldn't really have been a big issue. Your fellow villagers might have said something, but the king wasn't passing any anti-trans laws. The authorities just didn't give a shit. That's a modern concern of modern bureaucratic societies that make you tick a box. The only institution which may have been concerned would have been the church, but fuck them. And also, cavemen didn't have churches. Well, didn't they? No. Basically, I just wanted to mention that a lot of our social issues that we think of as age-old issues, gender, sexuality, race, etc., are often creations of the last 400 years or so, and are issues of the society we have to live in, and not issues inherent to ourselves. And I think if a caveman was born a cave woman and wanted to go hunt a mammoth with the cave boys, then I don't think there would have been any oppressive cave bureaucracy there to stop them. Signed, Citizen Q. I think he's emailed him before and did off Citizen Q, which I think is funny. But yeah, what a great email, and what a
very
thoughtful response to a stupid comment.
Yeah. Oh, and Ben loves his history, so like I always like hearing about actual intelligent people talking about things from the past, because I have very little historical knowledge. So thank you, Ben, for adding to, as you said, Michael, a fairly flippant digression.
So can you sum up what he's saying there? Because I was too busy reading.
Yeah. Now I do want to know what this work question about reading emails is all about. So his takeaway was, the takeaway from what he was saying was that the idea of gender needing to be one or the other was a fairly modern invention, and one that came about because the authorities started to concern themselves with and meddle in the lives of their subjects, as monarchies and autocrats and that sort of thing started to fade out of favor, and government-run sort of democracies started to take a bit more control. Then you needed to categorize people and monitor a bit more closely, whereas a king just used to not give a shit about what its subjects were doing. And so there was not very much interest in controlling what the people did or looked like or that sort of thing. So his point is that it's institutions who instilled those restrictions on what could be, what normal was or what people could act like. And that if you go back to cavemen times before there was any sort of functioning governance, really, or systems or bureaucrats, then people were just people with very little language, probably, and that kind of question of who am I and what category do I fit into is not one that would arise in the minds of those people. You just did what you wanted.
So he's saying that like there were gender roles. I mean, obviously there's a physical difference between men and women, and especially when you're going back as far as caveman times, you're going to have different in your community or in your tribe. You're going to have different genders serving different roles based on their strength and ability. Yeah. But if you have maybe a really strong woman, who, you know, regardless of whether she identifies as a man or whatever, if you have a really strong woman or a really you know, I don't know,
caring,
this is going to get me into trouble
or whatever.
Yeah, sure. Then it's going to be more of a seamless transition there in terms of switching your quote unquote role in society. Does that make?
I think that's what
do you reckon that would have happened?
I don't know. I think that's what he's suggesting. But I think the other thing is that without the limitations of categorization, if a biologically female caveman was interested in or wanted to do male tasks, there was potentially nothing preventing that person from then going and getting strong or going and learning how to fight or, you know, pursue those things, because the categorization wasn't enforced by anything other than social dynamics.
Yeah, that makes sense to me, actually. Although I do feel like, I mean, yeah, maybe it is extrapolated a little bit now, because you do see things like, I mean, I've brought this up before, but like, if you see like a flamboyant gay man, like, that's another thing. Do you think that's a product of modern society, as Ben says, or do you think, you know, back in those times they were men who did act, you know, more effeminate?
Are we talking cavemen? Or are we talking like Middle Ages?
Yeah, I'm talking cavemen as well. Yeah.
I think probably because some aspect of the diversity is genetic and hormonal, right? Like there are factors and variants in the breeding, you know, in the diversity of the human species, where some, I think, would be intersex. You would definitely have had intersex cavemen, right? So there are people there which have variances genetically, and some of those might manifest in, you know, the more feminine traits, classically defined feminine traits, versus the more aggressive style. Like if you could have aggressive women, like just cis women as cavemen, because they have, you know, that's aggressive trait or the strength traits or whatever, then I don't see why you couldn't also have just a cis man who has the more feminine traits.
Yeah.
And of course, that's so
interesting.
That sort of behavioral thing has waxed and waned in more recent history as well. Like if you look back at 1800s sort of, or, you know, Renaissance era men, you know, there were like the foppish like wigs and makeup and little mirrors, and, you know, the aristocratic flavor of those times was very camp, you know, like that, like in a historical context, you look back at it and you think, oh, that's very much sort of a parallel to that flamboyant behavior that we have today, even if the sexual connotations of it all are quite different.
Well, it's so like interesting and scary to think how. So we like to think that what we find attractive in other people, or what we like in life, are just inherent to us. But it's kind of interesting to actually peel that back and think that, when a couple of 100 years ago, people who were fatter were considered more attractive because it signaled wealth and health.
Yeah.
And
Having access to food.
no, we've just moved forward a couple of 100 years, and now that we can have everything at our fingertips and we can literally eat anything that we want. Now the control of that and what we put into our bodies is. Did you swallow a yawn? I just saw that. You swallowed a yawn.
I did just swallow a yawn, yes.
I saw it, dude. I saw you swallow that one.
But it was very polite. It wasn't. It was. That what yawns are. That yawns are your body trying to get oxygen into your brain so that you can keep paying attention. So it was actually a demonstration of me actively engaging with what you're saying.
I know. I always say that I never get upset when people yawn at what I'm saying, which often happens. But because it signals that you want to actually pay attention.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad we're on the same page. But do get through this. It was dragging a little bit. My point was that we like to think that what we find attractive in other people is inherent to us, but it's actually so culturally contextual. Of course. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you think even in the most literal sense, what bodies they put on the front of magazines, what in every Hollywood celebrity's fitness regime is, they are so explicitly telling people this is what you should look like. It's surprising that we don't see more readily how influenced we all are as to what beauty is or what desirable is.
But it makes sense. It makes sense though, because if you see like a model who has, chiseled pecs and abs and, arms or whatever, that signifies that they can hunt, even if the guy on the cover, that he could never hunt a day in his life.
Yeah.
It's
you
just
think
like
that there's still
like
a biological brain. Yeah. The primal thing. Yeah. You're totally right. It's interesting.
It's weird. It makes me think. It scares me a little bit because it makes me think like, we like to think that we're so in control and we're our own beings and we have our own consciousness and we're just, I'm just me, man. But like we are the product of millions of years of evolution, and at the end of the day, still have this primal side of our brain, and B, the product of whatever culture we happen to be, coincidentally born in.
Yeah. And it's not even an era. It's like a geography, because the desirability of America to New Zealand to Brazil to Lithuania, like they're all going to have cultural differences,
right.
even in the similar or exact same time,
Yeah. Crazy stuff.
Yeah. Thank you, Ben, for your follow-up email. I look forward to the one sent in response to this podcast in the things that we just said now, which were no doubt full of other historical inaccuracies.
And please, anyone else, email us in at deepford@gmail.com with literally anything and we will read it, because nothing really comes in apart from PayPal. Okay, no, yeah. I want you to swallow that yawn in future. You're right. I was wrong to call you out. Swallow it.
You didn't like it? Didn't like how that felt? Okay. Total tangent, but somewhat exciting on my end. Thank you for asking how I've been. Definitely didn't notice.
How have you been?
Didn't. But I am moving in with my boyfriend, with KC, in a couple of weeks' time, which is exciting. But there's
scary.
It's been an interesting couple of weeks as we got paid the bond, got the confirmation of the house we're going to, and all that sort of thing. And now looking into the future, the not very distant future at all, to a life in which we're now cohabiting in a space. And I just sort of wanted to touch my fingers against your brain and squeeze out some nuggets. And just
right.
as someone,
I love it.
As someone who had lived with partners before, how did you approach it? Do you have any learnings? Like, I've been thinking about things like money. How do you split the bills and things? Are you I'll pay this one, you grab that one, or do you like keep it in a tablet? Do you have a shared bank account? Give me specifics here.
I love it, Nick. First of all, congratulations to both
Thank you.
of you. My first piece of advice is don't do it. That's a joke. No, it's a big step. I am like kind of a commitment phobe, which is weird that I've ended up in that position twice. What advice can I give? Okay, so it is okay. So for my first, this is not advice. This is just a fact. The interesting thing about moving in and taking the plunge to move in with someone is that you can't go back from that, which has always scared me. There's no moving in with someone and then saying, "Hey, can we live apart again?" I know that's not advice, but that's that's just
reality.
Something
Yeah.
to keep in mind. Look, advice. I tend to right now you've got this setup where you're kind of visiting each other's houses and you have the option of spending time in your own space. And the thing I think I've said to you before is that you go from one massive perk of moving out of a housemate situation and in with your partner is that at the moment you've got your privacy in your room there.
Yeah.
And then you've got the common areas with people that you live with and probably like, but it's not necessarily private space. One of the cool things about moving out with someone is that you get to have the whole space as your private space, but then share the privacy with that other person.
Yeah.
So that's really cool. My first piece of advice, I guess, would be to, which is something that I think will come naturally to you, is that you want to actively carve out your own space. And I don't mean physically in the house. I mean like you want to find designated time to be by yourselves and maybe you need to have that discussion with the other person.
Yeah.
Where you are actively, saying because you wouldn't have had to do that before. You wouldn't have had to say, "Hey, I need my own space here," because you haven't lived in the same space. So
yeah,
maybe you need to have a conversation about. But that's something that will come naturally.
I'm sure. Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know if I've got any advice for you. I've always just kind of gone along with things.
So in both
account,
situations, were they initiated by your partner? Do you remember?
No, they weren't. I don't think it was a mutual thing, but they were I think in the first instance with Elle, I wanted to not live with my parents, and then the second, I probably shouldn't go into the second one, but I wanted to get out of my situation that I was in. So they were like, I guess they were reactive to some degree, but positive.
Yeah. No, I'm looking forward to it for those reasons, which is, you don't have to do okay, well, I look forward to seeing you in 3 days, or, we'll catch up on the weekend kind of thing, where it's like you get the moments and then you're apart again. So that's going to be quite nice. But obviously the literal consequence of that is you no longer have the time when you're not there. So that will be an interesting adjustment and a negotiation as you work out what space people need and what private time outside of the sphere of the relationship is essential to it functioning. But obviously that's workable.
It's like one thing that's kind of always scared me is that the relationship will, like, you kind of, with all the perks that you're getting, you're actually removing a little bit of the zhuzh.
Yeah.
not to rain on your parade here, and I'm not doing that. And I know you don't think I'm doing that, but you are taking it a little bit. You're peeling behind the curtain, and as before, you've had glimpses, or you might stay at their house maybe even if you stay there a week. living with the person, as I'm sure anyone who's like lived with a friend will know, you will see everything from the best to the worst of them. And I guess, yeah, you have to really be in a position where you are willing to accept them for who they are.
Yeah, there you get the full picture then, don't you?
And they're going to piss you off. They're going to piss you off because they're going to be your housemate. And
Yeah.
housemates piss each other off.
Yeah. Yeah. And well, do you try and keep the special in other ways? Like, are you a date night person? Do you like go off and do activities which are different to make it feel special in that way?
Yeah, I think I think that's important. It's just weird someone coming to me for relationship advice because it's only ever been the other way around. But yeah, I guess it's like, you do need to make you'll just do that shit naturally though.
Yeah.
I think like you will make those special. You'll want to have those special nights. I guess the key thing is to not let it go so far go along so far without you guys having those like romantic evenings that the romance just gets completely sucked out, and then you're kind of in a position where you just like you don't even want to
Yeah.
go out.
No. I
But I think you guys will do it. And how long have you been dating?
18 months.
I think that's a good amount of time to move in with someone.
Yeah, I think that's long enough
Like,
to
what
know.
what are you scared of, and what are you excited about with it?
Well, I think the excitement is what I said already, which is just you don't have to have those little glimpses where it's like, I'll see you for 3 hours on Wednesday night, and then it's back to we're messaging, and then and I get to see you for 6 hours on Saturday, and like a little bit more of that. Get to be there when he gets home from work. Get to wake up in bed every day with next to him. Like that sort of stuff is appealing to me. And then I think the fear of it is exactly what you already sort of said, which is but now what is it like to live with someone that much? And just making sure that despite the inevitable spats and arguments and, oh, fuck, I just need to, just give me some space. You can get through that and make it work.
It's gonna be cool. Like you'll do more of. You'll be able to. You mentioned sharing. You mentioned sharing a bank account. I share a bank account currently, but that's for a visa situation. So, I don't know if Beam exists in New Zealand.
No,
but it's a money. It doesn't.
No,
it's like a money. You've probably got an equivalent over there. I'd highly recommend getting one of those money sending apps.
Yeah.
That maybe Splitwise or something that you can have your groceries in there. But that's a fun thing. I always love grocery shopping with someone that I'm living with, where you're going out and that's another cool thing about living with someone. They'll go out and get a whole bunch of groceries for you one day, and you'll just get to use them, and then you'll have to do the same, which sucks. But
yeah, I look forward to that side of it as well. Like not having to cook every single meal I ever make. Like that'll be a nice thing. It was fun this week as well because we were getting the chance to start, and as you say, going from a share flat situation where it's like the communal space is communal, it's not yours. Getting to go out and buy some furniture and buy a couch. And like be like, what do we want it to look like? What do we want to sit on? What do we need in terms of, table setup? Like these kind of decisions, which are small in some ways, but also kind of meaningful because it makes it feel like your place. That's been quite fun.
Yeah, I think it'll be. I'm really excited for you.
Yeah, thank you. I'm excited too. It'll be a busy weekend of running around and shifting all our shit from a couple of places, but
so when are you moving?
Not this weekend, but the following, the 24th.
No shit. And it's you said it's on the other side of Christchurch, but still close.
Yeah, it's about 15 minutes from where I live currently, but I'm on the west, and I am closer to Central City on the east now. So just on the outer skirts of the Central City.
Right. And are you assisting your current housemates with their search for the next one?
No, not my problem now. The way that it works here is there's not been a lease. It's been like a lodger situation. So I've only ever paid for my room, not we as a flat of 4 have split, a $750 a week bill or something like that, right? So I only ever paid my room separately, and that included all expenses as well, like all bills. So they will just need to advertise that room and find someone to come in and pay for it. But because that bill isn't being divvied up on them in the meantime, I don't feel any particular guilt about leaving it to them because they're not having to then pay my rent as well as their rent.
Yeah, cool. And so are you having to buy heaps of furniture?
No, it's semi-furnished over there. So and we have some stuff already. So like I've already got a desk. Casey's got a bed. So we just basically had to buy a new couch. There was actually a couch there, but it was just really old and tired. And the landlord said, you can either leave it or I can get rid of it for you. And so we just said, let's just buy a couch. And there's a dining table there. So we just need to get some dining chairs. We had to buy a couple of appliances like a rice cooker and a microwave and that sort of thing. But generally speaking, there's not very much overhead other than some furniture. Yeah.
Nice, man. Well, congrats. It's exciting, and I can't wait to stay there.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. We will have a 2-bedroom place, so you're welcome to it.
Can you just leave it for when I come there and don't use
it? No, it'll be my office in the meantime.
Just be like, this is Michael's room.
Yeah.
Just float it. Just talk about it. You guys talk about it. So it's a new segment that I came up with called Michael's Miffed. And and basically I just list a few things that it just pissed me off. Pretty simple. Okay.
I like it.
Cool. So do you want to play the jingle? Brand new jingle here, guys. Brand new segment.
BNJ.
There we go. 3, 2, 1. Michael's Miffed. Annoyed, displeased, riled up, offended, aggrieved, irritated, chagrined, pissed off, put out, resentful, and piqued, discontented. Michael's Miffed. So, new jing.
Yeah, got some Gorillas vibes. Damon Albarn in the house.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, you said my voice sounds like Damon Albarn before, which is a massive compliment.
Well, yeah, it was more the vibe than the voice.
Okay. And you said my arms look like Brad Pitt. Do you remember that?
I don't know that that's true.
See, I got those Brad Pitt arms.
Yeah.
So, just a couple of things, Nick, that's been
Brad
missing
Pitts.
me this week.
Pits. Is there something there? Pit Pits? I don't know. Okay, never mind.
Yeah, could be. So, the idea with this is that when I want to do the segment, when I've got like 5 myths, 5 Mike's myths, then I'll say we're doing a Mike's myths.
Okay, and just so I know, is my role here just to sit and listen?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm hoping like you'd be like, oh no, I feel that, or you're like, nah, I've never been miffed by that at all.
I feel like so it's quite binary then. I feel like I need like a flag where I can hold up the red flag and it's like, nope, I don't feel that at all, and hold up a green flag and that's it. Like I'm not sure how dynamic.
You could just go, oh yeah, like who knows? This is
okay,
trial and error.
Fine. Okay, sure.
As you know. By the way, you can do a Michael's myths as well whenever you want. If you got a couple of myths you want to get off your chest.
Okay.
Just because my name's on the
sure.
on the screen,
it's a franchise.
Doesn't mean
anyone can run a Michael's myth.
It's just the Michael brand. It's not mine.
Yeah.
So, a couple of things been miffing me this week.
Oh god. Yeah.
And they're just small. You know what miffs me?
You know,
When-
you know what I just so I can set up my expectations here. What I'm really hoping for is incredibly specific personal myths, not ones that apply broadly to like people around the world, people outside of yourself. I want you to specifically name names and say this person has been saying my name wrong. Like something which is not translatable to anyone else. This is what I'm hoping for here.
Okay, well maybe. I mean, okay. There's a mixed bag of maybe that I don't
Okay.
know, but you know what really miss me when someone that you don't know that well messages you out of the blue wanting to chat or saying, "Hey, we haven't talked in a while. How are things?" And you have to then have to engage in a dialogue with this person that you're friends with them on Facebook because you were friends with their girlfriend 8 years ago. Does that ever miff you?
It doesn't really come up for me that much. People,
Really? Okay.
I'm probably the person that reaches out to people and they're like, "Ugh, why is Nick getting it? I haven't lived in Adelaide in 7 years."
I hate texting people. I hate texting people. I hate texting you, and I love texting you. But I really hate texting people. It came up recently the other day. Some guy that actually we both know, but obviously won't say who it is. Messaged me saying, "How you going?" And I ended up having a dialogue with this person that lasted a week. And he was asking intense, deep questions that I can't just. I feel bad when someone messages me. When I know that I've got messages unread on my phone, I feel like an asshole every day that I'm not responding. But I also don't want to respond to them.
Who are we talking about?
Do you remember?
Oh,
Well, yeah, he just I have no idea what, and it was so like this. It was so weird. Like I would say, like we were so on different wavelengths. Like I mentioned I think like political correctness. And this is how deep we got. I mentioned the words political correctness, and he said, "Oh yeah, I had to look up what that was, but yeah, crazy." And I was like, "Oh,
what?
Well, I don't know."
What?
Yeah, he didn't know what political correctness was. He didn't know what that meant.
Okay, this is so weird. Why are you still friends with him?
On Facebook, I didn't think he's
No,
gonna.
I know.
Me.
That's what I'm saying. Why are you still friends on Facebook with him? Do you never go through and prune?
I do. You know what I do? You know what I do when people come up on my on their birthday. This sounds harsh.
Oh, yeah.
But when
Yeah.
I get reminded when it's like this person's birthday, I'm like,
You
I
got
have
me
no
a
idea
present.
who this person is. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm like, you're out on your birthday. Like,
Yeah.
they're losing a friend on their birthday. But
Okay.
anyway, Nick, this is something I know you can relate to.
Sure.
You
You
know
know when you're having
you know-
sex with a woman?
You know when you have a tiny pimple, maybe on your neck, maybe on your cheek, and it's a tiny, and you just know it's there, but you have to pop it, and then you try to pop it, and
And it's not poppable?
it's not poppable, and you make it worse, and then the next day it blows up.
Yeah.
And just it was like it was never anything, but now it's like something.
Yes, I do. I do empathize with that. I don't tend to get pimples, obviously, but I remember hearing about it from friends, and that sounds terrible.
Did you ever have acne as a kid?
Oh, as a kid, yeah, but that was so long ago. I just sort of lost context.
Isn't it crazy that you just like have pimples and then you just don't?
Oh, I got it fixed.
Laser.
Roaccutane, actually.
By the way, I just finished this last. It's going to sound like a tangent, but it's not. I just finished the last episode of season 2 of Succession last night,
Oh,
and Sarah Snood, googled her, went to
Snood.
Scotch College a couple of years ahead of you.
yeah, I know. I acted in a play with her. This is
Are
my
you fucking serious?
this is my call
in
to-
the
yeah, this
play
is
that
my-
you went.
This is my
Boy.
No, it's not. That wasn't a play. That was just a performance. No, this was a performance of Carmen, and she was Carmen, and she was fucking good. And everyone's like, "You're a really fucking good actor," and she was.
Really?
Yeah. And then now she's like Hollywood famous.
She's got something.
My claim to
She's
fame.
got something about her. She's so
fucking
about
good.
her.
Yeah.
She's so good, and she's got like. By the way, you can. I don't know if it was me looking her up, and then thinking this, or I could have predicted it before. I mean, I didn't have the thought before, so maybe I couldn't. But once I knew that she was an Adelaide girl, I was like, she looks like an Adelaide girl.
Okay, that doesn't make sense. No, that's silly.
Okay, fine.
Okay. What's that got to do with fucking pimples? Where'd that come from?
I was just thinking of you at school.
At that age. Okay, sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was a dirty street urchin in the performance of Carmen, and we had one song, and I had to hold a broom. It was I didn't really like drama.
And what was she?
She was Carmen. She was the name. She was the name of the show. Yeah.
She was the lead.
Yeah.
Small myth. Here, when people go, when people say,
excuse me. This has got to be called a mini myth.
mini myth. Why is that so funny? Okay, mini myth coming up. Mini myth. I feel like it needs to have a separate jingle.
Mini myth.
Mini myth. When people say right at the end of things, so American. You know when they go, I know, right?
Well, when they say it with an American accent, it might be because they're American.
It's inherently American to me when you say right at the end. It doesn't sound convincing in an Australian accent at all.
I know, right? Yeah, I feel like it would be easy for us, or not us, some bored fan to go back through and compile hundreds of examples of us doing it in this podcast. I
know. Well, that's okay.
I'm sorry.
I left myself.
I'm sorry, Michael, to do this in your first segment, but that's a red flag from me. That is an unsuccessful myth.
This one I've already brought this up, but ads for erectile dysfunction on Facebook. I get it. I hear you. I don't know how you know, but I am sick of it.
Yeah, we need to go through your ad settings there and remove the personalization, because obviously that's been pretty carefully targeted to those in need.
Not just Facebook. Last myth here. This is more specific, but the fact that I'm 3 years older than Heath Ledger ever was.
Oh, and you're angry about that?
I'm angry about that, man. Like, Heath Ledger just seems so accomplished.
Did he die at 29?
28, I think. Oh my god, I'm 4 years old.
Wow.
Yeah, it's either 28 or 29. I did the math. But yeah, he died so young. He died before he was 30.
Yeah,
Doesn't he seem so old to you?
He did seem older than me.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's weird. Okay.
Yeah, that's wild.
Well, if you've enjoyed this kind of thing, there's...
Sorry, did I fuck it up?
Well, if you enjoyed this kind of thing, then there is plenty of excitement back in the feed for your perusal. Head to deepfort.podbean.com for an easy list, or just check your podcast player. It's great. While you're there, give it a 5-star rating. It really helps, theoretically. And then you can send us an email and a question and a comment to deepfort@gmail.com. You can follow us on Facebook. We put up posts and images and jokes. And then you can go to Instagram, see some pics of things. I should look if I can find my Year 9 science report, as we promised that last week. The SoundCloud's there for our jingles, including the brand new Mikey Myth. And
Nope.
The Twitter is there as well if you need notifications that there are new episodes. So thanks for jumping on board and following us in all of those places. I got a quick game.
Awesome.
Quick game at the end, okay? You ready for this? It's not gonna be It's not hard, it's not complicated. It's called here's my game. It doesn't have a jingle. Haven't spent the time on it this week, but I appreciate that you did on yours. It's called What's Under My Desk? What's under my desk? It's this simple game here, Michael. I feel like you might have an understanding already, but let me just spell it out for you.
Okay.
I got something under my desk here, and I think
It sounds like a game Harvey Weinstein used to play with prospective actresses.
I'm close the door behind you. I think there it is mildly interesting what's under my desk right now. So I just thought, what's under my desk? I'm gonna give.
And will you give me clues?
I'll give you three options. It's a multiple choice,
All right.
and you can guess, and I will tell you if you're correct. And that's how the game will work. It's a one guess wonder. You see whether
Can
you
it
get
be
it right.
more like celebrity heads? And I say, "Am I an actor?" And you say, "No."
I think it might. No. Let's just do a multiple choice, and you guess one, and then we'll see if that's what it is.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
So here are. This is like I just realized this is like the Jimmy Fallon "What's in Your Box" game. Here is what is under my desk. A microwave. A carved wooden bird. And an electric toothbrush.
Okay.
What is it? Michael, what's under my desk?
So you're moving house, so I feel like it could be a microwave.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's something that could be under your desk.
Mm-hmm.
However, the carved wooden bird was incredibly specific, and I'm kind of leaning towards that. The electric toothbrush, yeah, I think we can all just throw that out with the garbage. I also don't understand electric toothbrushes. I don't understand people who use them.
What do you? Okay.
It seems weird to me.
Why? What's wrong? Okay.
Too many bristles moving too fast. What am I,
No
a car wash?
No one should have that level of mechanical device anywhere near your sensitive gums.
We haven't evolved to have toothbrushes move that fast.
Sure.
So I'm guessing it's between the microwave or the carved wooden bird. I'm gonna lock in the bird.
You're gonna lock in the bird.
I'm gonna go with the bird. The bird.
Okay. This might be our first ever justification for the visual recording of the podcast, because this will actually be something that does deserve to be seen visually.
All right.
You have locked in.
It's gonna be a secret answer. Nick's cock.
You've locked in carved wooden bird.
Yeah, I said
Alrighty.
wooden carved bird, but yeah.
You ready?
All right.
Wait, what did you say? Wooden carved bird or carved wooden bird? Because those are two very
Carved
different
wooden
things.
All right.
Okay. You ready?
Ready? Oh, he's reaching down. Oh god. All I can see is a chair moving. Whoa, microwave. Okay. That was what a weird multiple choice that you included in that. It's respect. Okay, so I'm and a carved wooden bird, and it's gonna be an electric toothbrush. Oh, and a fuck you to me. Okay. Nice, dude. Nice. Toothbrush? No, another fuck you to me. Two fuck yous. Oh, another toothbrush. What a roll. Okay, so I feel like that was an unfair multiple choice. Because I didn't get D, all of the above.
No, you didn't. But you did correctly guess there was a carved wooden bird underneath my desk.
Okay, so why do you have that?
It's beautiful. It adds a little bit of zhuzh to a new area, and her name is Mallory. So I would thank you not to demean my new household purchases.
How about instead of a wooden bird, of which, I mean, I haven't seen your room, only from your Skype, your webcam, and I'm already seeing a lot of wood. How about a little bit? How about an indoor plant, mate? Like, get some greenery up in this.
This is my
bitch.
old house.
And that's another. That's another tip. Indoor plants. Get indoor plants. It's magical how this is a tip for you moving in with Casey. I'm sure he's got much better eye for style or whatever than you do. But indoor plants will zhuzh up a room like you've never believed.
Yes, we are going to get some monsteras, I think.
Why do you have the bird? What's the bird? Tell me the story behind the bird.
It's a bird.
You just bought a bird at a garage sale?
It's a wooden bird.
Where did you buy it?
I bought this when we got the couch.
You got a free wooden bird with a couch?
No,
What kind of couch is this?
No.
Okay.
Yeah, I bought this. Yeah, it was actually
Where?
it was in the discount bin because it's damaged, and I
At what store? At what store did you buy that in the discount bin?
at Nude, the furniture store. It had a discount bird, and I felt like it needed a new life. You know, you're the one with like this animal fascination, but you don't approve of me having a wooden bird.
How that made sense. Yeah, I see your connection. How much did it cost?
It was $80.
Discounted to $80 or discounted?
Yeah,
from
this is
$80?
discounted to $80.
No, it wasn't. No,
It was.
wasn't.
Yeah, it was.
Are you fucking serious?
Yeah,
What?
yeah. It was from 120.
$80.
Uh-huh.
And what was your intention for this bird? Like, where would you put it in your house?
Put it in a cage, I suppose. We'll get a bird cage.
A wooden bird cage.
Yeah. Yeah.
A wooden bird cage for your wooden bird.
Yeah.
Well, that is genius.
Yeah.
That is
And-
absolutely genius. Nick, I love your wooden bird.
Oh, that's very kind of you. I'm glad you changed your mind so quickly.